Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much. And I hope that you are ready to read and that you have been practicing because remember, practice makes perfect. With practice, you can improve your reading, and your reading can be so well that you sound just like you are a native speaker of English. And that's essentially what we are trying to achieve here. So, come on, let's read today. All right. So, go ahead, guys, put in the comment section where you're viewing from. We are going to read. And I hope that you guys are excited to read today. And whether it's morning, it's night, or it's evening, where you are, I hope that you guys are really ready and you have stored up that energy so that you can read. So go ahead, guys, share the video out to someone who you know might want to view this video, someone who can learn from our videos. It's good to always pass knowledge on. So go ahead, guys, share the video. All right. Don't forget to comment in the comment section where you're from. I am still waiting to see you guys comment in the comment section to say where you're from, guys. And if anybody is interested in reading with me tonight in terms of coming up on screen to read, don't forget you can do so by clicking the link in the comment section. So there's a link in the comment section that will allow you to come up on screen to read. So we are going to begin now, which means we are going to actually be sharing our screen, sharing our reading passage, what we are going to be reading, or you would say sharing our text. Yes, if you call it a text or you call it a passage, guys, it's all good. Right. So here we are. Let's practice how to read about traveling. So we are going to be reading about traveling. And this is episode number 5 on traveling. Episode number 5 on traveling, guys. So let's see how well you're going to do with this topic, traveling. Let's see how well you're going to be doing with this topic, traveling. And if you guys are not familiar with what we have been doing before, you can go back to our previous 4 videos and you would get to read from the beginning so that that can help you to build context or to really understand the situation that we were reading about. And this would help you to improve your English. All right, guys, so let's begin our reading on the topic traveling. And this is episode number 5 on the topic traveling. Where are we traveling to? America. America. So let's read our heading. Let's read our heading, guys. My first time traveling to America. Have you traveled before? Have you traveled before? What was it like when you traveled? What was it like when you traveled? Where did you go? Where did you go? All right. So those questions should be some questions that you are able to answer when talking about your traveling experience, where you traveled, and also when talking about if you have ever traveled before. So if you've ever traveled before, you can say yes or no. Yes would mean you've done it. No would mean you've never done it. And then when you ask, where did you travel to? You can say, I traveled to, and you say the name of the place. For example, I traveled to the Caribbean, or I traveled to Africa, or I traveled to Asia. If you want to be more specific, you can say, I traveled to China, or I traveled to St. Vincent, or I traveled to Beckway, or even I traveled to Canada. All right. In this case, I traveled to America. Let's now go ahead and begin our reading. Remember, the strategy that we're using here to read is where we are going to be identifying words that might be difficult for us to call because they might look a bit long, or they might be words that are not in our vocabulary because these words we have never studied them before, we may have never heard them, or they just look a bit difficult for us from looking at them because we are not familiar with how words are pronounced or how to break them down. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be breaking down these words into parts to call them. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Let's look at our words closely. If you were here earlier when we did our first live, then you would be familiar with some of these words because we have covered a lot of these words in our live previously. So let's look at the first word. Our first word, we are going to be identifying Asian in the word. If that is a bit difficult for you, then we can identify Sean. Anytime A comes before Sean, then we say Asian. TI before S, before ON, sorry, before on in words at the end would always say sh. It will make a sound like SH. So always remember they say Sean, A before it, A Sean. Let's go into the other part of the word. We have the prefix im, a, m, and that's a rhyme like in the word him or dim or rim. And then we have and then we have a, the short song for a, and then gr, G and R together, gr. When we put it together, we have im, e, gr, imigr, a, and shun. Immigration. Now, if you're going to be calling this part of the word, because this by itself is a word also, this I would make a long I sound where it's going to say I. All right. So we'll hear migration. So that's one thing that you have to remember. And that's why English is a very difficult language to learn because the songs in the letters, they are not constant, right? They are not constant throughout. So you got to learn which words would make the songs and which words would not make the songs. Okay, so what is immigration? What is immigration? So that's a word that we hear about all the time. We'll hear that someone is called an immigrant, or we'll hear immigration. So the person who took the immigration process, that person will be called an immigrant. Okay. So immigration is actually where someone leave their homeland and go in another homeland or a foreign homeland to live permanently. So you would say that that person went through the immigration process. All right. And you would call the person an immigrant. All right. So when immigration happens, it means that you have left. So that is the action where you go to a foreign country to live permanently. All right. And migration would mean, so this part of the word migration, if you want to also learn migration as a word, then migration would mean when you move from one place to the next to live. So when you move from one place to the next to live, to take up residency, then you would call that migration. Or migration, it's not necessarily you live in, but you move from one place to the next. You would say that you migrate, or you would say that migration has taken place. All right, so I hope that you do understand the difference in the words because you have just learned two words in one word. All right. Remember we said when a word has ER, you can call the ER at the end. So leave the ER at the ending so that you can call it there. And we're going to be looking at the other part of the words. So we hear off. Then we hear the short sound, A, off A for I. And then when C comes before E, I or Y, it makes a sound like S. So in this word, we're going to hear S for the C sound. So we hear off A, S, officer, officer. The word is officer. Who is an officer? Who is an officer? So think about it. Think about it. I want you guys to gather meaning where you can guess based on the words that you hear leading up to that word. You can make meaning to see who is an officer. Who is an officer? All right. So an officer basically is somebody who does like administration work, or a public servant can be called an officer, or a representative can even be called an officer. So an officer is a person who has the position of authority in an organization. Somebody who has position of authority in an organization. So basically somebody who is in charge, or somebody who can make decisions for that organization. Or a person who holds a rank, you would call them an officer. And in the Navy, in the police force, in security, you would always hear about officers. Good. So let's now go to our next word. This word, it is actually the two O's make the sound O. So we hear look, and this is a root word. Remember when we add ed to the word, when the word ends with a soft sound like K, we'll use the t sound for ed. So we hear looked, looked, looked. All right. So I only did that word because of the fact that it has ed. Because I've noticed that a lot of you are practicing ed, where you call the songs almost every word with ed, you're gonna say id. However, always remember, in order for you to say id, the word must end with a T or D. The root word, the part of the word that does not have the ed, must end with a T or D for you to say id. All right. So in this word, we're going to use the t sound for look. So we hear looked, looked, looked. All right. You guys are doing very well. Guys, please comment in the comment section. Let me know where you're from. So I can know how to tailor instruction if you are learning how to read English, you are a beginner, or if you have been learning English for a long while, or if English is your native language. That would be helpful in instructions. All right. Okay, let's continue. We also did this word last time. This word says t, C and K together. They make the same song, so we only make one song. So we hear t, ik, and et. Sorry, tick. So we hear t, ik, tick. And this word would rhyme with word like pick and lick, those words. And then the E, if you're using British English, you're gonna hear the E make a song like short I, so you're gonna hear E. So ticket, take it, ticket. All right. If you're using American English, you hear ticket, ticket. So it will make the et song like in words like let, where et is a rhyme to say et. So that's how you can spot the difference. So the first part of the word tick, like when your clock hands move, you say it's ticking, t, 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 and then it, ticket, ticket. All right, so I'm using British English, so I would say ticket, ticket, ticket. All right, let's go to our next difficult word. Our next difficult word is this word. We can see can in it. Remember, we are looking for small words to build to big words. If you cannot see can, let's say you are not a reader, a good reader, or you haven't learned any small words yet, then we can see the small word an. So we add to it and we have can. And then we add the S sound at the beginning. So we hear s, an. So we hear s, and then we hear can, scan, or we can put the S and C together to get sk, and then an, scan. Now the two N, they're making the same song, so we don't need to give another song for N. So we hear scan, then we add the ED sound. Remember, once you can hear the sound at the ending of the root word, so you can hear n because it's a nasal song, so you can hear it. It's a voice sound. The ED would make the sound d. The ED would make the sound d, like D. All right, so this word says scanned, scanned, scanned. The word is scanned. What does it mean to scan something? So in this text, we're actually learning about something being scanned. What does it mean? So we know today that you can scan so many things because of QR codes. And when you scan something, what does it mean? So if you're scanning something, it simply means that you are examining it or you are, let's say, inspecting it. Or in some cases, scan can mean you're looking at it or you're browsing through it. Or in some cases, it can even be like you're searching through something that you're scanning. So when you scan something, you're looking at all the parts of it carefully, all right? And you're trying to detect the features of it. So when you scan something, you're looking at all the parts carefully and you're trying to detect the features of the different parts. All right. So when we scan a document, in this case, something is being scanned. The passport is what is being scanned. We can just put it on the machine and then the machine would um, take a look at it and allow the information to be able to um, be seen or read. So the machine is actually examining it. All right. Our next word, we also did this word earlier today. We can see the small word as. Remember, when two letters make the same sound, go ahead and only make one sound. All right. So in this word, we see two letters here making the same sound. So we are going to go ahead and make one sound. So we can put this together as a small word, as. And remember, we said this word is an impolite word to use in a lot of English places because it means um foolish. When somebody's foolish, acting foolish, then you would use it to say that they're acting foolish, or that like they are stupid. So that's why it's a very informal word to use and very disrespectful word in a lot of English places. And then we add the P to it. So we have P, as, pass. So we have pass, and then we have OR here. This is the next part of the word. And this is a word by itself too. We hear O and R together make the O sound. So we read it as port, port. So the word here is port. And when you talk about a passport, it is actually referring to a document that basically identify who you are. And that document is something that is issued by your government of your country. And that basically certifies you or identify you. And it is a legal document that is used for traveling. So it actually would be like a certification that you are a citizen of the country which issued it, and this would allow you to travel to different places. So word is passport, passport. The next word is the I here makes a short I sound. So we hear sis, like in the word sister. Always remember, do you hear sis, that it is spelled with a Y because the Y is making the short I sound. So we hear sis, and then we hear t and m. So we hear t, m, or we can say say, and then say stem. If we know this word stem, like the stem of a tree, we can use that. If we don't, then we say sis, and then we say t and m. The rhyme m, like in the word hem, and other words that has that rhyme. All right, so let's read this one. So we hear k, we see the rhyme like in the word mum. We hear so come, we put them together, we have come. Then the U here makes a long song, that's why it's calling its own name. So we hear you. So we have come and you, compute, and we hear compute and So compute and computer, computer. All right. If you're in using American English, you'll hear being sung as in the word. If you're using British English, most likely you're going to hear The EI is going to give a schwa sound where you hear just a puff of air. All right. So the word is come and you and computer. Always remember you cannot group these together to say put. Okay? You cannot group it. Even though it looks like a small word, do not group it. And that's why we say English is a funny language and it's so hard to learn because the songs are not always the same, despite we have the same letters. All right. Okay, so the word is computer or computer. So the Americans would say computer because the T, they pronounce it as a D sound. It's a computer, and you'll hear The British would say computer. Computer. All right. So just keep practicing those two pronunciation. Our next word, remember we have ed. Whenever we have ed, we are going to call the root word first, then call the ed after. So let's go ahead and call the root word. A, S and K together, we hear S. So S, and when we put it together, we have ask, 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 ask. Now, the last sound we hear is a soft sound. We hear, which is a voiceless sound. So our ed would make the t sound. So we hear asked, asked. Right, our word is asked. What does it mean to ask for something? So when you ask, you're actually putting a question out there. You are requesting something, or you say something in order to get an answer or to get information. That's what it means to ask. Our next word, we did this word today also. This word says W. The WH makes the sound W. The W makes the sound, the H stays silent. Remember, in some word, the H can make the sound and W stays silent. So you have to be careful with reading English and always pay attention to the words to learn them. All right. So after a time, you would know which variation is saying what in whatever word it is. So we hear E-R-E make the sound E, E. When we put it together, we have W, E, W, E. Where here is basically asking about a place or position. When you ask where, you're asking about a place or position. Remember, ERE says A in a lot of words, but there are some words where it does not say A. There are some words where you hear the ER say and the next E is silent. So it actually makes a sound in those words. So you have to look out for those words too. And like we say, that's why English is such a funny language. All right. But nevertheless, once we practice a lot, we are going to learn the words after a time, and it's going to be so easy for us to remember. Let's now go on to our next word. Our next word, we see EL making the sound O. We can also see ING saying ing at the ending of words. So remember, whenever ING is added to a word at the end, we are going to call that part last, which means we're going to leave it there. And once we can call the root word, or we can call the word, then we are going to call that part after. So here we hear true, T and R together, have, like in the word have. Remember, not always when E is there, we'll hear a. We most likely hear the vowel call its name. But in words like have, we don't. And it's just the same like in traveling, we do not hear the vowel call say A. Okay. So now the EL makes the sound O. When we put it together, we say true, have, O. Our word now is true, have, O. Travel, travel, travel. So the word is travel. Now let's add the ing. The ing says ing. So when we put it all together, we have traveling, traveling, traveling. Don't forget, always add your ing last. Once you can call the word, your ing would be supernatural to add to the word, which means that, sorry, not supernatural, super easy to add to the word, which means that it would be very easy to put them both together. So here we hear traveling. traveling. And that's one of our words in our topic. So I was hoping that you would remember it from reading the topic. All right, our next word is So we hear remember these two letters are the same. In a lot of cases, when you have two vowels that are the same, sometimes they do not always make one sound, right? So you have to also be careful with that. However, in this word, they're going to make one sound. So we hear mom, mam, mam. And this is the short form for saying the word madam, madam. So madam has a D where the apostrophe is. The apostrophe is used just to shorten the word. The apostrophe here is used to shorten the word madam. The word is originally madam. When the apostrophe is added, the D is taken out and the word would say mom, mom. All right, so we only hear one song for the 2A. And mom. All right, so hope you have all that together. Now let's go ahead and practice reading that first part of our reading or our text. So let's go ahead together. Remember the words immigration, immigration, officer, officer, looked, looked. Remember the ED makes the T sound. Looked. Ticket, ticket. Remember, I'm using the British pronunciation, so I'm going to say ticket, ticket. If you're using the American pronunciation, then you say ticket, ticket. All right? Scanned, scanned, scanned. The ED makes the D sound. Our next word, passport, passport, passport. System, system, system. Computer, computer, computer. That is the American pronunciation. The British would say computer, computer. So you would hear me read it as computer. But the Americans, they drop the T sound to D. So you hear computer, computer. Asked, asked, asked. Where, where, where. Traveling, traveling, traveling. Mom, mom, mom. And when you say mom, you more or less sing the middle of the word where you take it a bit longer. So you hear mom, mom. All right. Okay. I hope that you have all that together because we're going to be reading that part of our text. So let's go ahead now and let's read that part of our text. Remember, we're going to be reading word for word first, and then we're going to be reading in phrases. Then we're going to be reading in a sentence where we try to keep up with our pace so that we can be very fluent. Ready to go? Let's go. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Remember, if you're using American computer, all right, computer for the British. Then he asked, where are you traveling to? mom. All right. So if you think you have all that together, now we're going to be reading in phrase, which means we're going to be reading some words together at a time. We're going to be reading few words together at a time. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, mom?" All right. Now we're going to be reading in full sentence. So let's hope that we can master that. I believe you can. So let's just practice it. Are you ready to go? I hope that you're ready because I am ready. Let's go. Remember, whenever this word comes before a word that begins with a vowel, like in this case, we would use the word or we would use the pronunciation D. If it comes before a word that begins with a consonant, like in this case right here, then we would use the word da. All right, don't forget. Please don't forget that rule. If you forget that rule, then it's going to be so difficult for you to really understand how to read the parts correctly. Okay, so are you ready to go, guys? I think you're ready. Remember, whenever this word comes before a word that begins with a consonant, always be sure to say the. When it comes before a word that begins with a vowel, like in this case, be sure to say D. Let's begin. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" All right. How was that? Was that easy for you to read? Or was that a bit difficult? Please let me know in the comment section if that was easy for you to read or if that was a bit difficult. We're going to be reading it again. Let's go. Remember, D because the word that comes after begins with a vowel. The hair because the word that comes after begins with a consonant. Let's begin. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" How was that? Remember, try to get your rising tone and your falling tone in sync so that your reading can sound as though you have expression. So let's read it again one more time. We're going to do it one more time, then we're going to cover all the other words. Remember, practice your rising and your falling tone. Okay, let's go. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you going? Sorry, where are you traveling to, ma'am?" Oh my, guys. See, I made a mistake. I inserted a word that is not there. I said, "Where are you going?" instead of traveling. And remember what it means to travel. Travel simply means you move from one place to another. All right? Okay, let's read it one more time and hope that this time we rarely master it. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" All right. So that was better, but we just need to practice so that we can really master it. All right, guys. So let's keep going. Our next word now is the word Q and U together makes the sound ku in English. They always go together to make that sound ku, ku. And then we hear the I makes a short song A. Then we hear C and K together. We join them to make one song because both of them make the same song. So we hear ku, ik, ku, ik, ku, ik, quick. Now let's add the L and Y, which makes this word into an adverb. When L and Y is added to a word, it makes it into an adverb. So, quick here is the action, right? That is the verb. But when you add L and Y, it tells you how something was done. So, L and Y together can say li or it can say lie because Y at the end make the sound I or E. In this one, we're actually hearing E. So we hear L, E, li. So the L and Y here says li. Let's put the word together. Quickly. Our word now becomes quickly, 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 quickly. All right. So the word is quickly. Our next word, we have a beginning, re, which is a prefix. And the prefix re actually means to do something again, to do it again. Okay. So we have that prefix there. Then we have p, p, and l. I and E together can make the sound I. It can make the sound E. In this word, we also have ed, so we can track the ed. So we can just say the I by itself says I, because the I here is using a song for the Y. The root word, instead of I, it would be Y. However, for spelling purposes, when you're spelling the word, you have to change the Y to an I and add ed. So for spelling purposes, you have to change the Y to I and add ed. So hence the reason why here we have the I. So it's actually the Y here that is changed makes the I sound. And remember, we just said when Y is at the end of word, it can say I or E. So always remember when you're going to add ed to a word, you would change the Y when the word ends with Y. If a consonant comes before it, you'll change the Y to I and add ed. Okay? If there is no consonant before it, then that is when you would, if there's a vowel, you would not change the Y. You would just add the ed. So that's why English is such a funny language, guys, and so difficult to learn because the rules, they do not stay the same. All right. So here we hear the I making the sound I, and then the ed is gonna be making the d sound because we can hear the I at the end. Whenever you can hear the sound at the end, as a voice sound, the ed would make the d sound. If you cannot hear the sound, that's when it will make the t sound. If it ends with d or t, that is when it will make the id sound. So those are the rules for ed at the end. Let's go ahead now and call our word together. We hear r, E. The E makes a long song, re, and pl, I'd, replied, replied. So let's do these two words, their meanings. What does the word replied means? What does the word quickly mean? Guys, start guessing in the comment section. Or what does the word quick? Think of the word quick. Remember, the root word is quick. Think of what quick means. When you do something quick, it means that you have done it fast. You have done it fast or swift or rapid, right? Something that is quick is something that will be moving very fast. We can also use quick in a way to say that somebody is intelligent. For example, I say, oh, you know what? You always get the answers. You're very quick. That means the person is understanding easily and that person thinks or learn easy or that they're intelligent. But quick of itself as a adjective, when it's referring to things or to an action being done, it would mean that it is done fast or rapid or swift, or we can use other words like speedily, at high speed, um, promptly, or we can say like lightning. Yeah, you would hear all those words being used to express the word quick. Replied, replied. When somebody reply, remember this word actually ends with Y, the root word, and then the ed makes it the past tense. All right. When you add ed to it, it makes the past tense. So when someone reply to you, it simply means that they give you a response. They give you an answer. So let's say I wrote to you and you replied to me. That would be you giving me an answer or you responding to me. Okay. All right. Think you understand it. Or if I speak to you and you reply, then it means that you give an answer or you make a response. Guys, I think we're doing well so far because we are close to finish. Yeah. Are we? Okay, let's keep going. Our next word, we did this word in our topic. You can see the small word e, r, e, and ka. So when we put this together, we have e, r, e, Ameri, and then we have ka, America, America. And America, that's a land that has many states. And America is simply North America, part of North America. And everybody wants to go to North America, right? You want to go to North America, right? So America and North America, basically the same thing, in case you never knew. All right. And America is also called, well, it is formally known, it is known as the United States of America. But a lot of us, we just say America using a short form. Okay, what's our next word? A and I together in English most of the time says A, where the A make the song, the I stays silent, or in some cases, it can, especially names, you can hear the I make the song, then the A stays silent, so then it would say I. All right, those are the two main songs for AI in English. However, in this word, it's making a song like eh. And because of that, we call it a tricky word. So it would be important for you to learn this word as a whole word. And this word says said. So the AI here is actually giving a song like short E, where we hear eh, said. Learn that word, never forget it. Learn that word, never forget it. It's a red word. It's a tricky word. All right. Here we just did have in our word travel. We hear have. So it's the same thing. The E at the end is silent. Most times when E is at the end silent, you hear the vowel call its name, but sometimes that does not happen. So this is one of the words where that does not happen. So the A is actually saying in this word So the word is have, have. And this is have. We use have when there's more than one in the present. We use have when there is more than one in the present tense. And what does it mean to have something? Or what does it mean to have? It means simply to hold something or to own something or to possess something. So if I say I have 3 dogs, it means that I own those dogs or I possess them. They belong to me. Possess means they belong to me or I own them or I hold them. All right, let's see now. Our next word is n. Here's the same rule. E at the end silent, but however, this time we hear the vowel call its name. Remember we said that's why English is a funny language, because sometimes the vowel call its name, sometimes it just does not. So in this case, the vowel calls its name. So we hear I. The C comes before E. Whenever C comes before E, I or Y, we hear a song like S. So we hear S. Just like the word officer, we hear S. Okay? It's the same thing. C comes before E, so we hear S. So the word is ice, nice. Ice, nice. What does it mean when we say something is nice or someone is nice? What does that mean? Something is nice or someone is nice. It simply means that that thing is something that is pleasant, or that thing is something that we are satisfied with, or we can say something that is enjoyable, that is nice, or something that is good, we can call it nice too, something that is lovely. So, for example, you look very lovely today. You can say that you look nice. All right? You look nice. So nice can mean any of those. All right. Everybody, please hit the like button. Tap the like button, please. Thank you, guys. All of you who are watching, thank you so much. Please hit the like button. Our next word is T and R together. We blend it. We have the blend true, like in the word truck. We hear true. Ip, imp. We hear the short song ip, and it's the song for peep. Ip, like in the word lip. So lip would rhyme with this word um rip. And in this word we can see rip. Can you see rip? Yes, we can see rip. Like when you tear something apart, you would say you rip it. You rip it. So we can just say t and say rip. We hear trip. Or we can put our T and R together, true, and our I and P, ip, trip, trip. How wonderful, guys. If you guys are doing that, you have done an amazing job. Very good. So our word is trip. Trip. What is a trip? So a trip is simply when you go out, when you take a, yourself on a journey. You can say that you go on a trip. Also, like when you go on a new journey on the sea, like a voyage, you can say that you um go on a trip. So a trip is basically like an outing, all right? And it is something that you would do for pleasure. So when you do it for pleasure, that's for you to enjoy or to have your happiness, then you would call it a trip. So a trip can be like a visit, it can be like a journey, it can be like simple as a drive. You taking a drive with someone can be a trip. You going for a run can be a trip. You going on a holiday, that can be a trip also. All right. So a trip is simply a journey that you do for pleasure. You go with the hope to return. You go with the hope to return. When you go on a trip, you go with the hope so that you would return. All right. So you do not go to stay. Okay. Our next word is the word C and H together. EER says air. We learned today that ERE in this word where says air. Just like ERE says air, we also have EER making the sound air. When we put these two together, we have air, chair. What does it mean to be of good cheer? What does it mean to be of cheer or of good cheer? What does the word chair mean? What does the word chair mean? So this chair is not like the chair that you sit on. It is not like the chair that you sit on, okay? So if you're thinking that when you hear the word chair, chair that you sit on has AIR. The chair that you sit on, the air sound is represented by AIR when you're spelling. So this chair with EER, it means something different. It actually means like when you shout for joy. So when you're very happy and you shout for joy, you can say you're filled with cheer. Also, when you like uh feel as though you are lit with a lot of motivation or like you are on fire for something, like you're feeling so good about this thing, then you can say that you are filled with cheer. All right. When you encourage someone, that is you cheering them up. So cheer actually means when you are happy. For example, when you're happy, you might say, hooray! That is a cheer. Cheer can also mean to comfort or to support someone, right? So when you act with cheer, it simply means that you act with a lot of encouragement or you act as though you are very happy and hopeful too. So the word cheerfully, when somebody does something cheerfully, it means that cheerfully, remember I told you, anytime ly is added to a word, it tells how something is being done. So when you do something cheerfully, so we have the suffix full, we have the suffix full, and we have ly added to it. When something is done cheerfully, it simply means that this thing is done with a lot of happiness or a lot of brightness within yourself in terms of a lot of positiveness or positivity, right? So that's what cheerfully means. Okay, yeah, you guys are doing well. Let's keep going. Our next word, and we are close to the hour, so we want to finish these words. We're close to the hour. Yes, so we want to finish these words soon. Our next word is we can see the small word on, and on. Now let's look for a longer word. So we see p and on, pond. Like a pond is a place where you have water and you might have like things living in that water, like fish or things swimming and so on in the water. That is called a pond. And we have the ed sound. We'll add the ed sound after calling all the other parts of the word. So we hear r, s, res. All right. So we hear, sorry guys, we hear re or suffix re, just like we heard in replied, we heard re. But remember, sometimes it can say s too. All right. So it depends on the word. You'll hear est, but in this one we hear re, and then we hear s. So we hear ris, and then we hear pond. So the word is respond, respond, respond. So this is the root word, respond, respond. And then we hear id. Remember the word ends with d. Remember when words in English ends with d or t, that's when we add the id sound for ed. That's when we add the id sound for the ed. So we hear responded, 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 responded. So the word is responded. What does it mean to respond to something? When you respond to something, what does it mean? So somebody asks you a question and you respond. Respond means the same as reply. It simply means that you give an answer. Or it can mean that in other contexts, it can also mean that you greet. You greet someone, or you make a reply, or you come back to something when you respond. Okay? But in this context, it simply means the same as reply, that you give an answer. All right. Let's see our next word. Our next word, we hear an, small word an. Then we hear our tongue between our teeth for the TNH. And so let's put it together. We hear thank, thank, thank. So with this word, our tongue goes between our teeth. So we say thank, thank. What does it mean to thank someone for something? Or what does it mean to thank? To thank someone, it means that you show your gratitude. You show that you are grateful. You show that you are pleased with what they would have said or with what they would have done. So to thank someone is to show how grateful you are, or to show your gratitude, or to show that you appreciate what they have done, okay, or what they have said. All right. So another word we can use for thank, we can say grateful. We can say grateful for thank, or we can even use the word appreciate, okay? And most of the time when you thank someone, you're actually thanking them because they have been kind to you, or they have been nice to you, or they have done something well for you. That's when you would thank someone. All right. Let's go to our next few words. We have A and L in the middle of a word. When A and L is in a small word in the middle, it makes the sound ah. Like in the word talk, we hear ah. So W makes the sound w, and the AL makes the sound ah, and the K makes the sound So we hear walk, walk. The ED, remember, K is a very soft sound, or it is a voiceless sound. So because we do not hear the song, this voiceless sound, then we make a t sound for the ED. So we hear walked, walked, walked. All right. What does it mean to walk? Walk is simply when you use your 2 feet and you allow one to go after the next or to move after the next on the ground or on the surface. That's when you walk, or that's how you walk. So your 2 feet, they one go past the other and you keep moving. That means you're walking. You lift them and keep moving. You're walking. Okay? So that's what it means to walk. Our next word, O and W together makes the sound ow. It can also say O. In down, it makes the sound ow. So we hear d, own, d, own, down. And you'll be familiar with a word like tongue, like the city or urban area of a place. You call it the tongue. So tongue rhymes with dung. All those words. And that's why we study rhymes, okay? Because if you don't know, a lot of you might want to use this as a small word, own, where the OW say O and the N says but in this one, it does not go like that. We do not hear O. So we cannot say own. We cannot use this as a small word. That's why we have to be very careful with our words and read often so that we can see the patterns in different words and we can automatically learn the words by seeing them. That's how we develop reading English easily. All right. If you have to go by small words alone and all those things, you would not learn English easily. It's going to be very hard for you. So, because it does always follow the rule. So this could have been on, but it's not on. Instead, we hear the OW saying ow, like in the word tongue. So we hear d, on, dung, dung. What does it mean for something to be done? When something is done, it means that in a local context, in a context, everyday context, if somebody says something is done, they simply mean that it's not working, or this thing maybe it's something that is depressed. Like I say, I'm feeling down. It means I'm depressed or I'm sad or I feel maybe worried. But down here in this context of our reading, it actually means when you are actually facing a position. So that position is downward, it's more to the ground. Okay? So that position is downward to the ground. Okay? A lower position. You would say that it is down. All right. So let's keep going. Our next word, we can see the small word all in it. We add the 8th sound. So we hear an all. Then we see a new word here. This is actually 2 words together, making 1 word. So we see hall, and then we see the word woo, and the AY makes the sound A. So we hear woo, A, woo, A, woo, A, way. When we put them together, we have hallway, hallway, hallway. What is a hallway? What is a hallway? So if you're familiar with the word hall, then you would know what a hallway is. Please, guys, please tap the screen to like the live. That would be really good of you to tap the screen to like the live, share it out to someone who might be really interested in it, um, and they can learn from it. So let's go ahead and see what a hallway is. So the word hall itself, what does that mean? When you're standing in the hall, it simply means you're standing in a room or space that is just close to the entrance of a house or of a building. All right. So that's one meaning for it. A next meaning for it is that a hall can also be a place where you have a large room in a building. This large room in a building where you have like concerts, you have any sort of events like meetings or conferences, or you assemble there, you can call it a hall. Some of us we call them auditoriums. That it would be like a hall. A theater would also be like a hall. All right. A church can even be classed as a hall, right? So that's wide or big, large room that we use for meetings or concerts, events, and so on. That would be called a hall. So what is the hallway? What is the hallway? Now that we know what hall means, what is the hallway? So the hallway is like a passageway. We can call the hallway a passageway. And it's actually a room that is between the entrance and the interior of a building. So that hallway, some people call it a corridor. It's the same thing. A hallway and a corridor is the same thing. So it is that room that is between the entrance and the interior of the building, like the other parts of the building. That is called the hallway. All right. So we have four more words to go. Four more words that we might find so difficult to call. And you guys, you're doing extremely well. Guys, don't forget to give the live a thumbs up. Let me see you guys in the comment section giving the live a thumbs up. Okay. Let me see you guys in the comment section giving the live a thumbs up. And please, guys, don't forget that you can come up and you can read with me on screen. Don't forget, you can come up to read with me on screen. How do you do that? You just click the link in the comment section. Let me know that you're coming. Click the link in the comment section and you'll be up to read with me. Remember, we want to practice. With practice, we improve. And that's what I want for you. So, guys, if you want to come up on screen to read, please click the link in the comment section and let me know that you're coming. There's a link in the comment section that you can click and come and read. All right. So let's continue. Let's continue, guys, so that we can finish up. We only have a few more minutes to go, then we are going to be finished. We have four more words to go. And these four words, I'm sure that they would be two of them would be very difficult for you. So we're going to be calling them. If you were here for our previous live sessions, you would know three of them and only have to learn one of them. Or by the time I start, you'll be able to get them correct. So let's go ahead and let's break these words. So this one, the A makes a long sound, say A. Then we hear V. And then we hear E. And then we hear A and shun. Remember we say anytime A comes before shun, you always hear the A make the sound A. So we hear A shun, A shun. All right. Hope you remember that, guys, and keep that with you. Remember, TI before the ON makes the song sh. So that's how we hear sh and on, shun. So this part says a shun. So we have a, making the song a, th, and then a. The short I sound, we hear it here. So we hear a, th, and a shun. Aviation, aviation, aviation. So a word is aviation. All right, aviation. What does the word aviation refer to or mean? So anytime we hear the word aviation, we automatically think of planes. Anytime you hear the word aviation, think of plane. Anything that deals with travel by air, specifically planes, that's what we refer to as aviation. And aviation comes from a Latin word that says avis, and avis means bird. Avis means bird. So anything that deals with air travel, specifically planes, you would refer to it as aviation. So aviation is actually the activity of transporting people or goods using an aircraft. All right. Our next word is, we're going to hear the long E sound for this word. So we hear the E say E, E. So we hear E, C. Then we hear K, C. The UR makes the sound So we hear C, and then we hear secure. And then we hear the small word it, and the Y at the end make a sound like E. Remember, we have already learned that Y at the end can make I or E. Like in the word quickly, we hear E. So we hear C, your, secure, and then we hear it and E, security. All right, so remember the UR says O. So secure and read E, security. So our word there is security. What does security mean? So if I say that, you know what, I need a security for my birthday party. I need a security for my birthday party. Or if I say that security is very important in our world today, what am I talking about? So security would mean that you are safe. When you have security, it means that you are safe or that you are free from any sort of danger or threat around you. When you are secure, right? Secure is the root word. It means that you are safe. So security means that you have safety. You have safety. Or you are free from danger or any sort of threat around you. Our next word, we can see the small word can in it. And yes, it works like that. We can say can, or we can say the small word an, A-N-N, an. And then we say sk, sk, and an, scan. So this word is scan, scan. And scan here is the root word. Because we have two N, we make the same sound for them. In real life, scan spells with only one N. However, when you're adding ing or ed to it, it is going to be doubling the last letter. So you double the last letter when you're spelling it. So that's a spelling rule for you there. You double the last letter when you're spelling the word. Okay? And doubling the letter comes for words that actually has vowels before them. Most time when the word has a vowel before the last letter, you would double the letter. All right. And then you add ing, and ing makes the sound ing, ing. So our word here is scan and ing, scanning, scanning. What does it mean to scan something? What does it mean to scan something? Scan is our root word. Scan, what does it mean when you scan something? It simply means that you examine it or that you are looking into it for the different details of it. So you want to see all the features that it has. So you're looking at all the parts of it when you scan it. Or you can say that you're examining it or you're inspecting it. So to scan something, you examine it, you're looking into all of its parts carefully in order to see the different features, and or you can say that you're inspecting it. Um, when you add ing, remember that shows us that the action is happening. All right, and our final word is air. E-R-E, make the sound air. Just like E-E-R, make the sound air. A-I-R, make the sound air. And E-R-E, making the sound air. So those are the combination that says air. This air is like when you say your feet is bare, this is how you spell that air. Or like the tortoise and the hare, this is how you spell that air. So you say air, then you make a sound for E, saying E, and then A. So you see here with English, the E is actually making a sound, E. So the E goes with the ARE to say air, but yet it is doubling back itself to say E. So we hear air, E, and A. Area, area. Some people say area. And the reason why some people say area is because they're doing it for spelling. Um, Honestly, I can't remember if the Americans would say area and the British would say area. But I think sometimes you would hear both pronunciation, it's the same word. But Americans, they pronounce their words in a way that they can spell them easily. So it makes it easy for them when it comes to spelling. So maybe they would say area. So they say A and then R and then E and A. And the word is also pronounced as area. Area. Okay, so we have those two pronunciation. Area and area and area. All right, guys. So we have completed all the words. Let's now go ahead and let's call them. Our word is quickly, quickly, replied, replied, trip, trip, nice, nice, have, have, said, said, America, America, cheerfully, cheerfully, responded, responded, tank, tank, walked, walked, dung, dung, hallway, hallway, aviation, aviation. And remember, the word aviation refers to anything that specifically planes, but anything that operates in terms of flying in the sky, um, because it comes from the word avis, which has to do with a bird, as in the avis bird. So aviation would be anything that travels by air, and specifically planes. Anything that travels by air, specifically planes, you would refer to it as aviation. Aviation. Our next word, security. Security. Scanning. Scanning. Area or area. So you can say area or area. Any one of the pronunciations, guys, you can use them. Okay, so I hope that your vocabulary improved there. Now, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be reading through this part, and we're going to be taking our time first, going word by word. Then we are going to be reading by groups of words and then by sentences. So let's go ahead and read our text. I quickly replied to America. Sorry, to should not be here. This should be out of the story. I quickly replied. No, sorry, guys. I'm the wrong one. I quickly replied. I quickly replied to America. He said, have a nice trip. And I cheerfully responded, thank you. With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. Remember, whenever this word comes before words that begins with a vowel, you would always say the, okay? And not the. All right. So let's read it one more time. This time we're going to be reading it fluently. I quickly replied to America. He said, have a nice trip. And I cheerfully responded, thank you. With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. All right, guys. So there we have it. We are now going to be reading it fluently. All right. So it's now time for practice, where we try our best to read it as fluent as we can. Guys, take it serious. We're going to be reading from the top, and we're going to be reading fluently. I hope that you remember all the words, because we want you to practice how to read it fluently. Let's go. After which, we're going to be removing the clues, and we're going to see if you can still read it fluently even when the clues have been removed. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, where are you traveling to, ma'am? I quickly replied, to America. He said, "Have a nice trip." And I cheerfully responded, "Thank you." With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. Remember the, all right, because the word begins with a vowel. Now I'm going to be erasing the clues from the screen, and we are going to be reading without the clues. Try your best to remember all the words. You did very well in practicing the words, all of the words tonight or today, whatever time it is where you are. You did all the words very well. So now I am thinking that you have mastered them. And so I'm going to remove all the clues, and you're going to have to remember what the words are. Remember what we have practiced, and I'm sure that you would do very well. Don't forget. So just take time, look through, scan through, try and remember which word is which, and then we are going to be reading. Before you read, I'm just going to give you a reminder of the difficult words that we did at first. So the difficult words that we did: immigration, officer, looked, ticket, scanned, passport, system, computer, asked, where, traveling, ma'am, quickly, replied, America, said, have, nice, trip, cheerfully, responded, thank, walked, down, hallway, aviation, security, scanning, area. All right, so I'm thinking, guys, that you have it all together. Let's go ahead and practice reading through our first time. And we're going to be reading using sentences, which means we're going to try to read fluently. We're going to start off at a very slow pace, then we're going to build up to a faster pace. Let's go. Ready? I hope you are, because I am ready. Let's get to it. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" I quickly replied, "To America." He said, "Have a nice trip." And I cheerfully responded, "Thank you." With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. All right, so I made a mistake here. I cannot say the hall. I have to say the hall. All right, because remember, hall does not begin with a vowel. All right, we're going to try it one more time, and we're going to try to improve. Just like I made a mistake, you would make mistakes too. Just keep practicing, okay? Let's go. I should probably erase all the marks. Let me erase the marks, guys. So there will not be problems for you in seeing the words carefully. Let's go. Let's read through the story now. Ready to go? Let's go. Ready? Go. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" I quickly replied, "To America." He said, "Have a nice trip." And I cheerfully responded, "Thank you." With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. And I also made another mistake. So, guys, you see, we would make mistakes. Let's do it one more time and try to perfect it. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" I quickly replied, "To America." He said, "Have a nice trip." And I cheerfully responded, "Thank you." With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. So that was better. That was better. Let's now get to practice one more time. One more time, then we're going to stop there for today. And guys, please, if you want to come on screen to read with me, don't hesitate. The link is in the comment section. You can come and read, okay? So we can hear your voice, you can practice, and I can always help to correct your pronunciations and all that. So it would be good if you choose to come and read live. Let's do it one more time. Remember all words: immigration, officer, looked, ticket, scanned, passport, system, computer, asked, where, traveling, ma'am, quickly, replied, America, said, have, nice, trip, cheerfully, responded, thank you, walked, down, hallway, aviation, security, scanning, area. All right. If you were able to call all those words, then you are doing very well. You are doing awesomely well if you were able to call all those words, my friends. So let's go ahead and let's get to it. Let's read one more time. All right. Are you ready, guys? I'm sure you're ready because I am ready. Let's get to it. Okay. Let's begin. Ready? Let's begin. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" I quickly replied, "To America," he said. "Have a nice day." Sorry, guys, we messed it up. We messed it up. You see, guys, that's why it's important for you to follow your punctuations. If you don't follow your punctuations, your reading would sound a lot like you are unsure of where to stop, where to make your pause, and that will take away from your comprehension or your understanding of what you're reading. So it's important to always follow your punctuations. Okay? All right. So let's do it one more time. And this time, let's do it right. Let's begin. Let's go. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" I quickly replied, "To America." He said, "Have a nice trip." And I cheerfully responded, "Thank you." With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. If you read all that, you are doing extremely well. I am so happy with you. Hi, Hassan. Baba, how are you doing? Thank you so much for leaving a comment. It's my pleasure having you here, and I hope that your reading would improve as time goes by. All right, let's read it again one more time. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" I quickly replied, "To America." He said, "Have a nice trip." And I cheerfully responded, "Thank you." With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. If you're able to read all this just like that, you've got this going. So let's read it one more time just for clarity. Ready to go? Let's go ahead and read it one more time. Ready? Let's go. The immigration officer looked at my ticket and scanned my passport into the system on his computer. Then he asked, "Where are you traveling to, ma'am?" I quickly replied, "To America." He said, "Have a nice trip." And I cheerfully responded, "Thank you." With that, I walked down the hallway to the aviation security scanning area. That's really good if you were able to do all that. Thank you so much for reading with me today. And if you read all that, you did an amazing job. I want you to keep practicing and know that you can master this once you keep practicing. All the difficult words, you can go over them and you can practice them. We have done the vocabulary for the words, and I'm sure that you can master them. So just keep practicing. All right. So I'll see you again, guys, later. I want you guys to take care of yourself and may God continue to bless you as you try to advance in your English speaking or in your writing or in your um conversations or practice whatever you do. Just keep improving. Have yourself a blessed one, whether it's night, morning, daytime, and be sure to take care of yourselves. And I'll see you guys again soon. Don't forget, just keep practicing. And it was lovely having each and every one of you here. Until then, guys, take care now.